Hey folks, how you doing? Papa Joe here. Hey, got my armrest fixed. Look at that shit. Boy, am I liking that. Y'all already know that I don't keep up with sports. Don't really care a whole lot. It was brought to my attention today that the old boy, what was he with, the Steelers, that went out and stood by himself for the National Anthem. He earned my respect for that. Well, he lost it again when I found out that they pressured him into apologizing. How can you apologize for loving your country and showing it respect? Now they had him saying a bunch of nonsense. You know, when I made that video the other day about this, last night or whatever it was, I told you that freedom of speech and all that was a right that I truly hold dear to me. That might not be the words I used, but that's what it meant. And I also said during that video that I supported their right to be stupid. Because if you ain't careful, you start taking away rights, they're going to start taking away yours. That's exactly what they just did to this feller. And he allowed them to do it. There was, without a doubt, political pressure from the people above him. And they forced him to join their ranks. They silenced him, is what they did. They took away his freedom of speech. Now, he tried saying about unity with the team and you know, a common front. I ain't buying it. This is exactly what I was talking about. And it only seems to happen on the left, where they are supposed to have the rights for free speech, but if somebody else doesn't agree with their free speech, then something must happen. It's kind of like them getting offended. They get offended and something must happen. This needs to be fixed because I'm offended. Back in my days, if I went to a store and I didn't get treated right and I got offended, I didn't go shopping there no more. In this day and age, if you go to a store and they do something and you get offended, then that store must change whatever offended you and make it right so that you're happy, happy, happy. Bullshit. And this man should have stood his grounds. And there are those, the one that was telling me about it, he's like, I'm sure he was threatened with being fired. Fire him. Let him fire you. Where in your contract does it say that you have to be disrespectful to the National Anthem? Where in your contract does it say that you must back the other players because they're being stupid? Let them fire you and sue the hell out of them. And I think he could have won. But instead he caved. He caved to the pressure, peer pressure. Well, they seem to be reaping their harvest now. what I've seen and heard, there's all kinds of folks boycotting them. This is one of the few times in my life that I wish I did watch sports so I could boycott them. Hit them in the wallet. Ain't that what I told you the other night? Hit them in the wallet. Who in the world wants to pay money to be entertained with a sport just to get spit in your face? And as Americans and veterans, whenever they pull their little stunt of kneeling or not standing for the flag and disrespecting our national anthem, that's a spit in the face in every American. It's a slap in the face to every veteran. And for them to even cry out about they're making a stand is bullshit. If they want to make a stand and a statement, all they have to do is call for a press conference when they're not on the field, and everybody's going to show up to hear what they got to say. They'll have millions of people tuning into it. The ESPN and all the other sports channels, they will just play it over and over and over again. This left-wing media that we have now will be playing it over and over and over again. They could get more mileage out of it by having their own little saying. And to tell me how they think they are so repressed and all this nonsense is bull. Now the majority of them, not all of them, they couldn't pour water out of a boot with the directions wrote on the hill, because all they did through their college and all that was concentrate on playing football so they could get the big contract. So all they are is paid entertainers. They are not scientists, they are not doctors, they are nothing but paid entertainers. And for them to take their platform that American people pay for to be entertained and to use it for political gain is wrong. And for them to even act in any fashion, do they realize how damn lucky they got it? Who was the fools that went over to England and would not stand for our national anthem, but they stood for the Britain national anthem? Now, I ain't got a problem with Britain. They've been our ally for years. But look at the simple facts. What do they call that, a monarchy? Where you really don't have any rights. Everything goes uphill to the queen. She is the dictator of that country. Yeah, I know, they don't call her a dictator, they call her queen. But it's just same thing spelled differently. And now there is no way that these fools could have went over there and acquired the mass fortune that they have acquired here in America. I don't know of a single country that would pay them $45 million a year to play football. Really? And then you're going to tell us how terrible we are and how great another country is. And this comes from a paid entertainer, from a supposedly professional athlete. You go to another country and insult us. You spit in our face and stabbed us in the back when you refused to stand for our national anthem, but you stood for foreign countries. Well, you're right. We are a bunch of fools. Because, not myself, because I don't buy tickets to go watch you. I don't buy that NFL jacket. I don't buy the little koozies. I don't buy none of that garbage that makes y'all money. I don't even know why you came back. If these foreign countries are so great, Why in the world are all you people staying here? You've got the money to move. Us working class, the ones that you're spitting in our face and stabbing us in the back, we struggle week to week. But out of that struggling, millions come up with the money to pay you to be an idiot. The only thing worse than a politician, I think, is a damn sports person that wants to play politician and make mockery of our country and then expect the people to keep supporting them to give their bosses enough money where they can pay them millions of dollars a year. And guess what? From what I'm hearing, the majority of people really don't give a damn what you think about politics. The majority of the people are not buying into this. The cops are hunting down black people. Last statistics I heard, it was like 400 black people got shot in a year out of like 300,000 arrests last year. And they tell me that actually, if you study statistics, more white people get killed than black people. There is not a witch hunt going on for black people. And you're over here in this country protesting us, saying how bad we are because there was slaves here. Guess what? There was slaves in England before there was slaves in America. Guess what? Black people in England have problems too. Guess what? We all have problems. And all races have been a slave at one time or another. Why do you think because you had ancestors with a slave that you're special? Guess what? All races at one time or another was held down, and we all found our way of coming out. And before you get jumping on my ass too bad, remember, I am an American Indian and I am Irish. And both of them had their hard road to hoe too. So you're not the only one that your ancestors had to fight through hard times. I'm a hillbilly out of the country, out of the hills. I grew up wearing hand-me-downs. I was one of the poorest kids in school. They made fun of me because I was so poor. Guess what? I pulled myself above it. I got out here and I worked. I did what it took to support my family. I went to college on my own. I got some education. I got some life experiences. I found out about trucking, and I got into trucking, and I did real good for myself and my family. You could do the same thing. If you're going to just stay in that city and collect welfare and sell dope and have your babies killed, that's something else. What was it I heard? 300,000 black babies are killed a year by Planned Parenthood, and yet you people keep supporting Planned Parenthood? Why? And you talk about 400 bad guys that the cops killed. The biggest problem that black people have on death is black on black crime, black on black murder. And you think that the whole world should stop because basically 400 bad guys got shot by cops last year? They were bad guys. Don't tell me the cops are out running down the black people and stopping every black person they see. It ain't happening. Is there a little profiling going on in certain places? I'm sure. Are there bad cops out there? Of course. Is there some racial motivated nonsense out there? Of course. But it's not on the scale that y'all want us to think it's on. And you know, if you're an NFL player making millions of dollars a year, I'll bet you $1 to a donut, you ain't never experienced it. I'll bet you $1 to the donut. All that you ever heard of is it on the media or from a teammate or from some Black Lives Matter or some nonsense like that with folks trying to get you all fired up. So now you think because you're a millionaire and you're a famous football player that the rest of us should just stop the world and pay money to go to a sporting event or stay home and watch you on TV to watch you disrespect our country, spit in our face, stab us in the back, and you want paid for it. And now y'all are being so damn foolish that you're allowing peer pressure to make you get in line and toe the line with everybody else. And that is exactly what I was talking about the other night. That is exactly what I was saying. And now it's happening. I told you, I don't want my rights taken away. And if we try to take some people's away, they're going to take everyone's away. They just took that man's rights away from him. He allowed them to take his freedom of speech. He was beat into joining the group, following the masses. Folks, don't fall for it. Don't do it. Get a little backbone to you and don't fall for it. Don't let them take your voice. If you think this nonsense is wrong, say it's wrong. Don't let them cow you into admitting or starting to holler that, oh yeah, it must be right. Look at all these football players. They all said it's right, so it must be right. Who the hell are they? They're a pretty damn good athlete that's paid well to be an athlete because that's what they worked on all their life. They didn't work on getting their doctorate or their PhD or their bachelor's. They didn't work on that. Since they was little, they was working on football. And they made it. I'm happy for you. Good for you. Now shut up and play football. No one cares what you think. They're paying to see you play football. I know that's a little hard love, ain't it? But it's the truth. How many of you really tune in to football to watch what they have to say? Now I know during the big playoffs, tons of people tune in for the commercial. They want to see what great commercial they put out. They're not tuning in to see what the NFL player thinks about white cops chasing down black boys. They don't want to hear it. You're supposed to be an escape from the reality of the day-to-day life. That's what entertainment is supposed to be. You're supposed to be an outlet and an escape for all these millions of Americans that want to escape their real life of working the 9 to 5, 5 days a week, and still barely paying the bills. You're supposed to be the escape. You're not supposed to be a political commercial for the left. Knock the nonsense off and play football. The rest of y'all, I wouldn't even watch them play football. I don't anyway, damn it. I wish I could so I could not watch them. That's the word according to Papa Joe. Y'all remember, God loves you and so do I. You fools playing NFL and playing the political pawn, I ain't got no use for you. Still love you, but you are misleading fools. Y'all have a good evening now. Good night.